my boyfriend cheated on me at a party, and after that his friend took advantage of me. Hi Reddit. I never thought I'd write this here, but I have nowhere else to turn. My life fell apart in a single night, and now I don't even know how to piece myself back together. It happened on April 24, 2023. A date I will never forget. My name is Emily, I'm 20, and everything I thought I knew about love, friendship, and trust shattered that night. The party, which was supposed to be a celebration for me and Jake, my boyfriend, turned into a complete nightmare. We had been dating for 2 years. I thought I knew him, that we were the perfect couple. He was everything to me. More than that, I always believed our relationship could withstand anything. We both studied at the same college in Boise, Idaho, and often spent time together with our friends. That night, Jake threw a party at Tom's apartment, his best friend. I was excited, thinking it will be our special night. It was, after all, our anniversary. All our friends were there, including my best friend Sarah. She had always been there for me, helping me through the toughest times. But at that moment, I didn't yet know that for the past few months, she had been seeing Jake behind my back as the party went on. I started to notice some strange behavior between Jake and Sarah. They were whispering to each other, constantly disappearing from the room. Something inside me felt uneasy, but I tried to brush it off, chalking it up to my imagination. But closer to midnight, when everyone was either drunk or having a good time, I accidentally overheard their conversation in the kitchen. There were a few other people around, so I didn't immediately pay attention to what they were talking about. But when I heard Jake say, "You know she won't find out," I froze. My heart stopped. My world crumbled in an instant. They were talking about me, my boyfriend, and my best friend. They had been together for months behind my back, and I didn't even suspect it. These two people whom I trusted the most had betrayed me. I felt my inner world shatter. Everything I believed in, our love, our friendship, it was all a lie. I was devastated, but at the same time I felt an overwhelming rage. I wanted to scream at them, break something, but I couldn't. I went to the bathroom and locked myself in, trying to figure out what to do next. Sitting on the cold floor, I realized I could no longer trust the people I once considered my rock. Comments. Oh, this sounds absolutely horrible. I went through something similar when my boyfriend cheated on me with a friend, and it broke me. Stay strong, you're not alone. I can't even imagine what it's like to lose both your closest people at once. This is a terrible situation, and you have every right to feel how you feel. This is just shocking. Friends and partners like that don't deserve any sympathy. You're stronger than them, and you'll get through this. This all sounds so painful. I think you need support. Don't keep it all inside. Share it with someone who hasn't betrayed you. Here's the translation. After I found out about Jake and Sarah's betrayal, it felt like the world around me started to collapse. That night, April 24, 2023, left a wound in me that I can't heal. I sat in the bathroom of Tom's apartment, feeling like every piece of my life was falling apart. My hands were trembling and I could barely breathe. Everything I thought I knew about love and friendship disappeared. I had lost trust in the two people I loved the most. That I sat in the bathroom for about an hour, maybe more. The same thoughts kept running through my head. How did this happen? Why did this happen to me? What did I do wrong? I felt completely lost. It was around 1 in the morning, and the music from the party was still blaring behind the door. But to me, that noise became distant, like I had stepped into a completely different world. I realized that no one had noticed my absence. Not even Jake, my boyfriend, seemed to care that I had disappeared, and my mind was full of contradictions. One part of me wanted to run out, find them, and scream at them, demand an explanation. But another part of me felt too humiliated and broken to fight. I had always been the one who believed in the best. I always thought our relationship could withstand any test. We had even planned a trip to San Francisco at the beginning of the summer, something I now couldn't even imagine. Jake and Sarah didn't just betray me. They took away my belief in myself. I started doubting every decision I'd made, every moment in our relationship. Memories began to haunt me. The nights when Jake seemed distant, the times when Sarah avoided eye contact with me. Now everything made sense, and it was destroying me from the inside. I could no longer tell what had been real and what had been a lie. I remember thinking, why do I always trust people? Maybe that's my mistake. An inner voice kept blaming me for not noticing the signs. I kept asking myself what I had done wrong. I blamed myself for trusting people who didn't deserve it. I was haunted by the thought that this was more than just betrayal. It was an invasion of my personal space, of my heart. Jake knew what loyalty and trust meant to me, and yet had chose to betray me with Sarah. I couldn't understand it. They hadn't just destroyed my love, but also my friendship. Everything I had built with them. I decided I couldn't stay there any longer. I quietly left the bathroom, trying not to draw attention to myself. I no longer cared what anyone thought. I just wanted to escape. It was around 2 in the morning when I stepped outside. It was cold, and I walked through the dark streets of Boise feeling empty inside. My hands were shaking, but not from the cold. It was fear, despair, and shattered dreams. Comments. It's hard to read this and not feel your pain. Betrayal from those you love the most destroys all trust in people. Stay strong, you're not alone. I know what it feels like to sit in the bathroom and think it's your fault. But it's not. They betrayed you, and you have every right to be angry. I was in a similar situation 2 years ago. The whole world falls apart when the people you thought were closest to you do something like that. But you're stronger than you think. Don't let this stop you. You're not alone in feeling this despair. We all go through moments when betrayal hits us right in the heart. But you will get through this even if it seems impossible right now. Here's the translation. Hi Reddit. I already told you how April 24, 2023 became a nightmare for me. But that wasn't the end of the story. After finding out about Jake and Sarah's betrayal, I thought nothing worse could happen. I was wrong. That night when I left the party, the streets of Boise were quiet, but inside me there was chaos. It was around 2 in the morning, and I was just walking aimlessly, trying to cope with what had just happened. But one event that night changed everything even more. I was walking toward the nearest bus stop. Even though I didn't have a plan, the city felt empty, and I felt empty too. All my thoughts revolved around one thing. How could this happen to me? How did I not see this earlier? I was deep in my thoughts when I heard someone approach me from behind. It was Tom, Jake's friend, the one whose apartment the party was at. I had known him for years. We were in the same group of friends, and I never thought he could be dangerous. Tom caught up with me near the bus stop at the corner of Main and 9th. He tried to talk Tom, saying that Jake and Sarah were fools, that they weren't worth my tears. At first, I thought he was just trying to comfort me as a friend. But when he suggested we go to his place to distract me, I felt something was off. I declined and tried to walk away, but he wouldn't stop. He became more insistent, started touching me, hugging me, trying to make me stay with him. At that moment, I realized he didn't want to help. He was taking advantage of my vulnerability. Things got worse when he tried to force me to go to his car, which was parked nearby. I screamed and pushed him away, but the street was empty, no one was around. I panicked, but somehow gathered the strength and just ran. I ran without looking back, and only when I found myself in another part of the city did I realize I was alone again, with my vulnerability and fear. Tom, like Jake, had turned out to be another betrayer. He was part of the same group I once considered my circle of support. Now, every single one of them had turned against me. I could no longer trust anyone. My life had become a vicious cycle of betrayal, despair, and constant distrust. That night, I returned to my dorm at 4 in the morning, feeling completely broken. I couldn't understand why everyone around me, the people I loved and considered close, had turned into monsters. What had I done to deserve this? These questions tormented me, and each day that followed only deepened my fears. For several days after that, I didn't leave my room. I was terrified by the thought that the world around me was dangerous, and there was no one left I could trust. All the memories of that evening haunted me, and every conversation with those I once called friends now brought pain and anger. I no longer knew how to move forward. Comments. This is horrible. I can't even imagine what it must be like to be betrayed by everyone at once, losing friends and becoming a victim of assault at the same time. Please stay strong and seek support. Tom is a true monster. How could someone take advantage of a person going through such a betrayal? I'm furious just reading this. You're not alone, and I'm sure you'll find people who will support you. It hurt to read your story. It's a true nightmare to lose trust in the people you once called friends. I've been through something similar, and I know how hard it is to find the strength to move on. It's awful when the people you love turn against you. Don't blame yourself. It was their choice to be like that. I hope you can find help to get through this pain. Here's the translation. Here's the continuation of my story. After that night on April 24, 2023, when Tom tried to take advantage of my vulnerability, I realized I had completely lost trust in the world around me. Life no longer made sense. Jake and Sarah's betrayal broke me emotionally, and Tom's Saddam to exploit the situation crushed me completely. A week passed. I tried to keep living, but each day felt like a struggle. I could no longer leave my dorm without fear. In Boise, where I studied at university, every familiar street now filled with anxiety. I couldn't walk past Tom's apartment or the places where I used to hang out with Jake and Sarah. They had all become symbols of my pain. By May 1st, I realized I couldn't stay here any longer. I couldn't face those people anymore. Every time I saw a message from Jake or Sarah on my phone, I was overwhelmed with panic. They tried to justify themselves to reach out to me, but I couldn't bear to hear their voices anymore. On May 3rd at 3 a.m., I deleted all their messages and blocked their numbers. I decided I no longer wanted anything to do with them. But even that didn't bring relief. My life had become a closed loop. Every time I tried to sleep, I saw the faces of those I once loved and trusted. I replayed that night over and over in my head, and my thoughts started to drive me mad. What had I done wrong? Why did this happen to me? Why did the people I trusted the most turn into my enemies? My inner struggle was growing stronger. I could no longer trust others or even myself. How could I have let this happen? I kept blaming myself, thinking I should have noticed their lies sooner, should have left earlier. But the truth was different. I was a victim of their deception and betrayal, and it was destroying me. Each day I felt more isolated. On May 5th, I decided to return to my hometown in Oregon, hoping to find some way to recover. My hometown is small, and I hadn't been there since starting college. I hoped I could find a bit of peace there. But even the trip home didn't bring relief. My mother noticed something was wrong, but I couldn't bring myself to tell her what had happened. I felt too humiliated, too broken to talk about it. That month was the worst of my life. Every day I woke up with a heavy feeling in my chest, knowing that nothing would ever be the same. But something inside me still pushed me to seek a way out. I realized I couldn't keep fighting on my own. When I returned to Boise at the end of May, I reached out to the university counselor. It was the first right decision I had made in a long time. I began slowly opening up, talking about my pain and loss, about how the people I trusted the most had turned my life into complete chaos. I still don't know how to find inner peace. I still feel the pain of betrayal, of the assault, of how my life fell apart in one night. But at least now I know I can ask for help. And maybe that's the first step toward healing. Comments. You are incredibly strong for reaching out for help. That's a huge step forward. Don't blame yourself. You are not at fault for what happened. I've been through something similar, and it's very painful, but in time you will find peace. I'm proud of you for deciding to talk to a counselor. It's important, and it will help you begin the healing process. Don't stay silent about your pain. Find those who will support you through this difficult time. I've read your story from the beginning, and I'm just amazed by how you've held on. Life can be cruel, but you've shown that even after the hardest blow, it's possible to start seeking help. I hope you find peace within yourself. You're not alone in this fight. I've also been betrayed by people I trusted, and I understand how hard it is to find the strength to move forward. But you're already taking the first steps, and that's so important. Stay strong.